This is another trike that I did for a G.I. Joe pilot, and the only thing I didn't like about this frame is the aluminum. This is all I had at that time when I did this frame, so this is not the same thing as this one right here. You can see how much more refined that is, and it's more realistic with this particular size tubing on this Trike, inspired by Air Creation Tanarg. So, but this is the tubing I had at the time. Sometimes, I don't have the tubing right away, and an idea comes up, and so I'll just take whatever that I have similar and build it from there. So that's how this frame came about. But it's still a pretty cool frame. I mean, it's still durable. I mean, I can still use this frame and just complete it. It needs a bracket for the motor, same as I do on the MIA 1.25. Same idea, same concept. Nothing new there. My braces, my brackets are the same, and it's almost a generic brace here. This squared triangular plates that need to be done, for when you brace two things together. So that's how those things came about, and this is something that I've been doing since the 80s. When I first did one of my very first the 8-foot microlight that I did in those days. I started with aluminum tubing, and then I even machined the tubing. I even went from square tubing, I went to flat stock, machined the flat stock, because in those days, we didn't have the technology in battery or motor power that we have these days, and so I needed to lighten up the frame a lot. One of the ways was to not use square tubing like this, because you have a lot of tubing here, a lot of aluminum. You have one side, two side, three sides. This one is channel to keep it lighter, but even the square tubing, you have four sides with aluminum, 1/16 thickness aluminum, that gets a little heavy. So what I ended up doing is, instead of using the square tubing at that time, this size, I went with flat stock, about 1/8 of an inch in thickness. The great thing about the flat stock that I used back in the 80s, and my first trike, one of the first trikes that I did, because I did quite a few of them, was that it allowed me to take the 1/8 flat stock and just bend it wherever I want to, real easy, without having to cut the material, and I could maintain a continuous frame structure. So anyway, that's how a lot of these things have come about. And Microlight has been doing this for a long time. When you do things for a long time, you develop a natural feel for things, and you know what works and what doesn't. It's a cool frame, but not as cool as this puppy right here. This is an awesome frame. This is the trike that I'm going to keep, for this particular Tanarg. Very true to the way that Tanarg is done. Let me see if I can pull a photograph or a drawing of the framework that I'm talking about. Okay, so here's the drawing of the real Tanarg. And so I got really creative with this, because I didn't want to have to do all these little parts here, and it's not necessary, because number one, you add weight, number two, you add complexity, and number three, it's not really adding structurally on a model, as you require on a real one. The real ones are done that way for a lot of reasons. Structural, you have weights, you have real people there. This is a model, so you can bypass a lot of the complexities here. And so, the way I like doing things, I like to get creative, and just developing a feel. Having done this for so many years, I know where everything needs to be braced, and I know where everything needs to be supported so it doesn't bend on you, on impact. There's a lot of consideration and things that I typically don't mention, when I showed my models, but you're hearing it in this video. I was looking at this section here. This is done on the real one with two bars here, and one bar comes to here, and then another bar comes here in parallel, and then they draw a perforation right through those two bars, and even this is angle. It's quite complex here. There's a bend here, there's a line, there's another parallel here. When you can simply do this with just one angle right here, and it follows the same base, and I can simply do that part right there by putting a brace right here to the front there. And like I said, once the cover is done, once all the interior covers are done, the seat is done, the cover and all these interior parts are done, I have to mold the control panel. I have to mold some covers. It's going to look awesome. And this provides basically a brace for this cut here, because I took the aluminum and I cut right there and I bent it. And this right here gives me a full brace here. It's going to brace that. It's going to support there, and it's going to support right here with this particular brace here. So this whole structure is well supported. And just the fact that I'm using hardware at all these triangulated points, it becomes really, really strong. And it's still pretty lightweight for a model of this size. So I'm very happy about that. So basically, this is where I'm at. Come back again to my videos. I will be posting, progress as I'm working on this. So once again, this is Mario with me on Microlight. Stay tuned for more.